Oh shit! There it is. It's finally here.
Fantastic.
There he is. There's Dylan. What's up, guys? My name's Landon. That's Dylan over there. And let me tell you, this has been a minute in the making.
Yeah.
And I'm so freaking pumped to be here and doing this show with you, Dylan.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked too. I'm so happy.
So, you know, I've kind of been behind the scenes here trying to get this whole thing working and get everything in the background going. And finally today I just said, you know what? I'm almost at the point where I think I got everything good to go. And we tested some stuff out earlier. And sure enough, here we are. We just decided,
Yeah.
you know, the only way we're going to figure out what kinks we still got to work out is to just go live and do it.
Ooh,
So.
did somebody say kinks? Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, I think it's funny because we've really thought that we should do a show together for fucking ever.
Yeah.
We thought that we are two great personalities do a show together, and like, truthfully, it seems like we should have done this way sooner than now. But just time and how shit works, and but yeah, I think we're both super excited to do this. We're really excited to have the audience feedback, and this is gonna be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. This is the feeling of the show. We really just want it to kind of be upbeat and lively and have interaction from you guys. We, as you can see on the screen here, we have a call-in number. You guys are welcome to call, or you can shoot us a text at any time during the show. You wanna say something, you got a comment, you can call us, text us, and we'll be able to answer those there. We also have the chats. I do see the chats coming through in the background. So if you guys do have a question or anything, you feel free to throw it down there. But we really would like to hear from you guys. So if you want to call in, that would be really cool.
I think first things first, though, even though we're kind of on an audience already that knows you, a lot of these guys don't know me. And I think it's important that we lay down that foundation really early. So like, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dillan Holiday, but most people just call me Big Quincy. And I came from a kind of a paranormal show. I was the researcher skeptic over there. And you know what, man? Those shows are great and all, but I'll tell you what's really fun is being able to hang out with your friends. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to do kind of like that old school, just shoot the shit. And I think this is going to be great, and it's going to be a great journey to take with all of you and, of course, with Landon. But Landon, how the fuck are you today, buddy?
I'm pretty good. Actually. I'm off work this weekend, so I get to kind of relax and enjoy my time. I did get a little pissed off earlier because I really wanted to open this very first show with the game from Motorhead, the just Triple H intro. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I was really pumped, because that song just gets me so fired up. But during some testing here just a minute ago before we went live, I got copyright striked within like 10 seconds. So they took the entire post down. Whatever, dude.
Well, let's hope whatever music we use for the intro this time, it's not connected to any, and because I know like we've had that issue in the past where we've had to fight things and certain things are allowed and certain things aren't. But let's finger crossed hope that this one works at least for a couple shows till we can find something. And yeah, I would be pissed too. Isn't it a bitch how the fucking internet works?
Yeah, well,
you can say and do virtually anything. The internet has free porno, but you can't even play like a song you want to play,
Yeah, it's
and
ridiculous.
that to me is the true reason that the internet is not superior to the radio. Is that those guys can at least play music, even talk radio. They're in the background playing music and shit. It's fucking great. Some assholes just talking over the music. It's great.
Yeah.
But, I think that, like, that's something that really takes away from, like, podcasts. Because there's no breaks. There's no fun. It's just everybody's talking the whole time. And I wish we were able to use music. And hopefully one of these platforms, one of these days will open up and you can.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not necessarily too used to that either because, previous podcasts that I've done up until here recently where I started doing some on Facebook was through another platform that wouldn't kick you off if you played music.
Yeah.
And now, Facebook, they're just so freaking quick with it. I had an idea that I thought maybe I could intro the show every time we do it with someone's, maybe like some local bands if they have some of their music or whatever, and just kind of, giving an opportunity for people to hear their music that might not ever hear it. And I thought that would be a cool thing. So who knows? Maybe I'll do that in the future because then you can kind of know if they've put their copyright crap out there or not.
If we have any musicians watching who maybe have some decently recorded stuff, man, send it our way and we'll happily use it and we'll give you credit. But, I guess we have to talk about, some of what's happening in the world. And I think first things first, we have to talk about something that I'm really excited about. Don't worry, everybody. We're not talking that stupid shit here. The UFC fights tonight, man.
Yeah.
Now, Landon, I know you used to be a UFC guy. You're not such anymore, but I'm telling you, I'm going to change that being on this show. I'm gonna change that.
Dude, I'm down.
So
I love UFC.
yeah, man, I'm telling you, you'll love it, and that's the thing. The only gripe that I have is that I don't understand why it has to be so expensive. Because you to buy the pay per views, you have to have ESPN Plus, and then you have to spend $80 on the pay per view itself. That's like $100 a month, assuming that you're watching every fight night pay per that's fight night, that's the UFC pay per views, that's this, that's that. That's a lot of money to be dropping each month. But this fight particularly is the acclaimed Fight Island. This is what Dana White has been pushing for the last several months with COVID happening. He said this is going to happen, and I mean your co-main event and your main event are absolutely fantastic. Then you have the fight before the co-main event, which is also a title fight. On this pay-per-view, you have three separate titles on the line. So you have Petre Yan versus Jose Aldo, and that's for the vacant bantamweight title. Then you have Alex Volkanovski, which is versus Max Holloway for the featherweight. And then you have Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal for the welterweight title. And I mean, that is super fight. This fight was actually super last minute. Masvidal was a replacement for Gilbert Burns, who contracted COVID and is no longer able to do the fight. So, I mean, this guy's had a week to be able to say, you know what, I'm in the fight, I'm going to do it. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen tonight with those guys. Landon, what made you get out of watching the fights? Was it just too expensive, or was it boring for you? What was your?
No, I've never been a sports guy. Really,
Mm-hmm.
I've never been big into it. There's just so much shit to keep up with. And when
Yeah.
UFC first kind of started, it was a pretty small batch of people. So you could kind of recognize who's who and kind of understand their history and what they might possibly do. But now that it's so freaking big, and you have all these people from all these different countries, I can't even pronounce half their names. I mean, it's a lot to keep up with, which I guess is kind of cool because it doesn't get stale. But do you ever see like UFC going to like a subscription platform? Because I feel like that's like the way to go.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, I think everybody compares it to, like, the WWE network, Do I see the UFC doing that? I think they're making more money now than they ever have, so I don't know if they would go to a subscription network, but I can tell you they're also constantly making new deals. Like, as a matter of fact, today, their old clothing brand used to be with Reebok. As far as I know, I think Reebok is staying, but I think they're also adding Venom energy drink to that. So they're going to have some new branding, and hopefully the fighters can get some branding, and the cornermen, and everybody can get paid a little bit more, which is great. They just announced the new video game that's coming out August 14th. They announced that today. So a lot of brand new announcements coming out of the UFC, right before this huge fight. And I think that the question that everybody has is like Conor McGregor, kind of a wild card. Because even you, Landon, someone who's not following the sport right now, you know who Conor McGregor is.
Oh yeah. But didn't he like completely retire or whatever he said?
Here's the thing. He said that he's going to retire a lot of separate times. The most recent time. So right now, to explain it basically in layman's terms. Several months ago, he had a fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov, and that was a huge fight. Okay, he took the L. From there, he wanted to fight. Jorge Masvidal, who's in the main event tonight. The UFC, for whatever reason, wouldn't book that fight. I don't know if they think Masvidal's not ready or if they're waiting for a better time. Whatever the case may be, they don't see the opportunity as being now for that fight. So McGregor said, you know what, if you're not going to let me fight the guy that I want to fight, I'm done. And Dana White, who is kind of the president of the UFC, said, listen, I don't chase guys. If he says he's retired, he's retired. And it's unfortunate that we don't get to see that fight sooner than a lot of us would want to see it. A lot of us thought we were going to see it on this card, UFC 251, but unfortunately it didn't work that way with booking.
Well, it sounds like they're just sitting there pulling it out and seeing who's bigger. at this point in time. So
Yeah,
him retiring is most likely bullshit. I mean, come on, dude. This guy has an opportunity to make some ridiculous money, which I understand he already has.
yeah.
But like, I mean, he has the opportunity. He's still so young, dude. He could fight so many more times.
Well, and here's the thing: the fight. So this fight has less to do with him and more with who's booking. So the way that I look at it is like this: okay, you can only fight if the bookers tell you can fight, and they're going to lay out certain options for you. Um, there was a lot of speculation a few months ago that they were going to pull out like a Hall of Famer, like a UFC legend to fight McGregor, and there were a lot of theories floating around about who he was going to fight. And the assumption that we all have as fight fans is that he said, "No, fuck this. If I can't fight Masvidal, I'm not fighting." And that's that. And Masvidal recently was having issues with the UFC because he doesn't believe that he's being paid as much as he should be. There's a lot of fighters in the UFC right now who are raising that same argument, who are saying, "Listen, I need to be paid more." And there's it's troubling times for everybody right now, but a lot of these fighters have the legitimate gripe of things were better when we were able as our own fight, because the way it used to work was fighters were able to go out and get their own sponsors. When the deal with Reebok happened, that was no more. Now it wasn't just fighters, it was also cornermen. So if you remember old school UFC, they used to put up banners before in the corners, and the banners had all the sponsors, and then the fighters' shorts had all sorts of sponsors. Mm-hmm. The cornermen had those same sponsors. So the cornermen were making money through sponsors. The fighters were making money through sponsors. When the Reebok deal happened, it took all that money off the table.
Oh, shit. See, I didn't even know that.
So now the cornermen couldn't make independent money, and the fighters couldn't make more money. And then you have fights, and then you have the fight bonus if you win. And then you have like fight of the night bonus, which both guys get, but then the guy who wins gets a little bit more. And that's all dependent on what you're getting paid. So for example, let's say, let's just use what the most average number is. Let's say I'm making $20,000 in this fight. If I win this fight, I'll get $40,000. The person who loses to me only gets 20. And then let's say we have fight of the night. Well, that person gets 30,000. I get 60. Yeah,
whatever the
numbers are.
Yeah, they're probably way more than what we're even talking about here.
Well, no, I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that $20,000 is about what fighters are making who aren't main event level.
Right.
That's your average, and there are guys that make less than that. There's guys that make more than that. It just depends. And like I can tell you, that's what Nate Diaz was making for a lot of his career. And Nate Diaz, after he had his two fights with Conor McGregor, won one, lost one, has become a big name. But before that, he was making $20,000 a fight.
See, that I just don't feel like that's enough money, man. Like, I don't know if you could put me in a ring with some big ugly motherfucker for
to punch your face off for $20,000. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is it's like, so you have two guys getting into the ring for $20,000 each, who are trained professionals to kill each other. That's their job, to go out there and just beat the fuck out of each other. And like, that's the thing, is like, is $20,000 enough? And that's the argument that we're seeing. A lot of these people obviously don't think so. No. Paige Van Zant, who is one of the females who is in one of the fights tonight, has said last week, she said, "I could go do a normal job and make the same amount of money I do from the UFC. I just love it." She just loves fighting. So you really have to have that passion. But then there's people like McGregor who, they're so past that stratosphere, every fight they're in is a $2 million, $3 million, $4 million fight.
Right. Now that's when I would do it. All right.
Well, that's
Put me
the
in
thing,
with McGregor for $3 million and watch my ass get
he
whooped.
has the money, but it's a passion for him. Yeah. So when he says he's going to step away, he's going to step away until the UFC's ready to give him that money fight. Because that fight with him and Masvidal is an easy fight to make that makes sense. And it's a money fight because everybody's going to buy that pay-per-view.
Right. Well, he's kind of being smart about it then. I mean, because if he holds out, and let's say they offer him, $20 million to fight, when he could have fought 10 fights at $2 million. I mean, yeah, dude, I'd fucking hold out too.
And that's
fighting,
the thing,
dude.
McGregor is a fucking genius,
and he has a piss ton of money. So like,
yeah,
it's not like he's hurting.
I mean, he's had fights with Mayweather. He boxed against Mayweather. Huge gate, made millions of dollars on that one fight. So yeah, he has the money, and you're right. It's a strategy for him. He's saying, listen, motherfucker, I'm not going to fight until you give me the fight that I want, and he'll fight for whatever the price. He doesn't care how much he gets as long as he's fighting that guy, because he knows it's going to be a $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million fight.
Right. I think that we need to see like, I want like Rosie O'Donnell and Oprah to fight in UFC. You think they? I
think they're both too old. I don't know if they do that.
I think seeing those two walruses just roll.
Those two walruses. Listen, man. I think. Who do you give that fight to? Who do you give? Do you give it to Oprah or Rosie?
No, Rosie for sure.
I feel like Rosie's thrown down, man. I feel like
she's a little scrappy, you know?
Yeah, I feel like, listen, man, if you ever watch those old funny clips from the fucking View, look at me, some yenta mentioning the View, but this lady's just fucking ready to fight everybody, man. She really is. She is the epitome of like professional wrestling promo when she talks. Let me tell you something. I'm gay and I'm proud, and I'll kick the shit out of you, motherfucker.
Look, at the end of the day, there's none of that is going to be as good as like old school WWE. You know, when you knew it was, when you're growing up as a young kid and you kind of were like, man, that kind of looked a little fake, but they did a really good job. You know, those old WWE promos were the best, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah, dig it. Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour. Oh, yeah.
Somebody clip that, please.
Funky like a monkey, space is the limit. Oh, yeah, Macho Man. Snap into a Slim Jim, I'll tell you what.
Hey, that was a great endorsement deal for him. That was perfect.
Listen, and that's the thing is, like, I don't know if you know this, but Slim Jim tried to replace him when he left to another company. They replaced him with Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't know if you remember who that is.
No.
Bam Bam Bigelow is an interesting guy all in himself. He was one of those guys that came from like Extreme Championship Wrestling, so ECW.
Oh yeah.
The dude had flames tattooed on his head. He was bald, and he used to wear a suit of flames.
Oh.
Fucking wild ass dude. And he tried to do the Slim Jim thing, but nobody's the Macho Man. Oh no. Nobody competes with the Macho Man. Not even Hulkamania can compete with the Macho Man. Oh yeah, you did it. You know, so that's how's my Macho Man today?
Do you have Dusty Rhodes in there? The American Dream? You got a little bit of
hard times, baby. Hard times is when you tell the textile workers to go home. You kick them in the butt, and a computer takes their job, baby. Hard times is when a man's working in a factory for 15 years, and you give him a watch and send him on his way, baby. That's hard times. And Ric Flair put Dusty Rhodes into hard times as it is.
Okay, now that you brought up Ric Flair, I got a call for you here that I want you to listen to. This is Dusty Rhodes calling random people in the phone book named Ric Flair.
Jesus Christ.
So, here we go. Let me play this for you guys. This is fucking hilarious.
Stables.
Yeah, I'm looking for a horseman.
A horseman?
A horseman goes by the name of Rick.
Not here.
Are you a horseman?
I could be. What can I do for you?
Friday night, you can see me at War Games. Bring all your horsemen, because I will have Moondog Spot, Moondog Rex, and the Monkey Brothers. Yeah, I'm looking for a horseman goes by the name of Ric Flair.
Don't know him.
Could I leave a message?
I guess.
All right, write this down. Tell him it's Big Dust.
Okay.
The American Dream.
Okay.
Tell him to meet me Friday night, Starcade.
Meet you at the Stockade.
Yeah, Starcade, Friday night.
I don't know what you're wasting your time for.
Is this Baby Doll? Baby Doll! I know that was you Jezebel! Hello, I'm looking for some horsemen.
I've got plenty. How many you need?
4.
4 horsemen.
Yes, sir. This Big Dust calling on behalf of Crocker Promotions.
Can't hardly understand what you're saying, but...
Sorry, I got a little bit of a lisp. What about Chris Benoit? Oh, he did. Sorry.
No, I don't really know what you're talking about.
Is this J.J. Dillon's?
No.
Don't lie to me, JJ's. You and I go way back, Jack.
Well, it ain't JJ. You got the wrong person.
Don't mess with the American dream, JJ. My eyes are open as big as silver dollars, Jack.
Well, you got the wrong guy.
You and I, JJ, leather strap match. Dustin Rhodes is the master of the strap match.
I can't wait until we get the copyright because of the Dusty Rhodes theme song in the back. That's what I can't wait for. If you guys are watching now, consider yourself lucky because this is all going to be banned tomorrow.
I hope so, dude.
Oh,
you know,
God.
I mean, you remember old Ric Flair in the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's old
Yeah.
school. Like when they came out with WWE Network, that's the shit that I went back and watched.
Everybody
like,
went back and watched it from the 80s and 90s, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
And that's the thing is, it's like, because if we're talking professional wrestling, like nobody was better on promos than like Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. Like I just did the hard times, you know. My Dusty maybe wasn't as good as that guy's Dusty Daddy because he put that lisp in. Let me tell you something. But you know, I think my Dusty Rhodes was all right.
Oh yeah.
But like I couldn't imagine doing Ric Flair. I was trying to do it earlier with some friends, and I just couldn't do fucking Ric Flair because he's one of the hardest dudes. Like, you know, he has that mean woo Gene.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
got that weird like raspiness that's hard to recreate. He's
Well, it's like
actually
a
up here in
nasal, too.
Atlanta, dude. I need to
Yeah.
like try and meet up with this guy, and this would be great, dude. Let me interview Ric Flair. I actually know DDP. He actually went to his gym up here. He came to a restaurant that I worked at and did like a celebrity chef night type deal. And came in there, dude. He was fucking awesome. He's kind of weird, but he was really cool.
I'm gonna hit him with the diamond cutter. That's the thing is like those guys are all so fun, but like then you get to like see you have that happening in the WCW where they're doing gimmicks where like the Four Horsemen are breaking Dusty Rhodes' hand on the back of a truck with a sledgehammer. Which if you've never seen the video, everybody fucking run to YouTube and watch it because you just hear Dusty Rhodes and his voice go, "Break it good, baby, break it good," and then God, son of a goddamn, you know, and of course they didn't actually break his hand, but like you know they had the big black blurb around the hand, you know, making it look like his hand was just destroyed and put him in a cast for the next several weeks. They broke my hand, but they can't break my spirit, baby. And let me tell you something about Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, baby. You know, and then you watch the WWE though, and it's like some guys coming out with a fucking snake in a bag, and like you got the Repo Man. You know, like what the fuck? What's the legitimacy?
None of these new guys can do it like the old dudes. Like there will never be another person like Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example, that comes out in a beer truck and just sprays everybody with beer. Like no,
that's the thing though, is would you want to have somebody do that though? Because then they're just recanting old bits.
Yeah, no, I don't want people to do that, but you know, I mean, they can have their own thing, but like there's nothing that they're putting out that's as iconic as that is. That's why they're struggling so bad, man.
They did that exact same bit though. They did that exact same bit with Kurt Angle. He came out in a milk truck and just sprayed the ring with milk. And like, of course it was fun because it was like still in that same time, but it's like in 2020, I wouldn't want to see I don't even know who these fucking people are. I wouldn't want to see someone come out on a fucking, you know, water truck and spray down that's fucking stupid at this point, you know. But you're 100% right that like nobody is going to be as skilled on the mic as like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No.
And I think the reason is though is like if you look at it now, these guys have writers telling them everything they have to say. They're just memorizing what some asshole writes for them, as opposed to like when Stone Cold was like doing the show back in the day, and you know, goddamn. Take your John 3:16 because Austin 6'3" just whipped your ass. You know, like you don't have that anymore. And you also don't have like believable commentary. Like to me, the greatest thing you can look up online is sports commentators, not just wrestling commentators, but like sports commentators, either one calling plays or number two losing their shit. And I remember like maybe 2008, there was like a squirrel or something on the field, and it was like third quarter game. Neither team had scored, and you just hear the commentator, you know, he's running the 10, the 20, the 30, touchdown, goddamn, you know, like the dude's losing his shit. And it's like back in the day with wrestling, it was more believable to us because you had guys on commentary who were like losing their shit when things happened. Now it's just some dude sitting there like, I think somebody just jumped off the fucking building and killed a guy. You know, but imagine Jim Ross seeing that. Oh my God, he killed him. He killed him. Oh my God. Like, you know, you don't have that anymore because these guys are just trying to play it too fucking like, no, who commentates anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you got Joe Rogan, dude. Joe Rogan's probably like, you know, for the UFC, he's nothing like Jim Ross or Jerry the King Lawler, but I just love him commentating. I think he would have done good if he would have been commentating WWE for real.
But see, the UFC is different than wrestling because obviously wrestling is that, you know, scripted, and the UFC people are actually fucking bashing each other's brains in and around. And like Joe Rogan, when someone gets hit hard and when someone gets split open, Joe Rogan's reacting like a person is on their couch. You know, where these guys who are doing like commentary now, I don't know if they're just told to dial it down, but like, you know, Joe Rogan, no one's telling Joe Rogan dial it down on the UFC when someone gets busted open. Oh my God, he went down. Yeah. And he and you know, Daniel Cormier, who is now doing, you know, commentary with him, they're grabbing onto each other and holy shit, what did we just see? And then he gets in the ring and does the after interview with these guys. You know, Joe Rogan's great, but Joe Rogan's also been in the business for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Let me just say there's a lot of people here in this chat that I was not seeing earlier, and they're not popping up on this main screen here, but hey, whatever. You know,
I hope they're saying some nice things.
There's part of the kinkiness that we got to figure out.
Yeah. Does somebody say kinky?
I think there's a couple people saying that it was echoey, so I wonder if the phone call didn't go through and sound too great. I'm sorry if that happened. I will double check that afterwards. We got Daniel, Jerry, Rebecca. You know, the problem is with this is that I'm just streaming to so many different pages and things right now at the same time that it's a bit difficult to figure out where everybody's coming from, and I don't know why my chat on this side's not working, but
and you know, with the first show there's a lot of kinks we have to work out.
That's why we just decided to go live, and nothing's really prepared for tonight.
But I hope that everybody appreciates the glory that are the bits that I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to like archive this episode. So like only the true like people from the very beginning are ever going to know this episode.
The Macho Man, oh yeah. You know, like,
I am going to clip all that.
You're going to go and clip the Macho Man? Oh God. But like, it's one of the funnier things because like, you know, you hear all these stories on the news of like sad shit that's happening in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, who the fuck has time for all this? Who has the time for all this depression shit to just be talking about this constantly? Like, you know, I brought it up earlier and I said it was going to be one of the things that we talked about. And I guess we probably should because it's like news to some category of the world. But that Naya Rivera, who was an actress on Glee, like supposedly drowned or whatever. And like the media is pushing this as though Glee was the greatest show of all time. And listen, it's unfortunate anytime anybody passes away, but who the fuck watched Glee?
That's what I'm sitting here thinking, dude. Like, I don't even know what Glee is. So
I think so. This is one of those things where, like, just because I'm a part of, like, I try to stay in tune with what's happening in the world. Glee used to be a show where it was like a choir class or something. It was like following a bunch of teenagers or something, and they do like productions of musicals and shit on every episode or whatever, and they tackled some subjects, I think. But like this lady passed away, and like they haven't found her body yet, but that her son's fine. At first they thought her son was missing, but they found him on the boat sleeping, wearing his life vest. They assumed she wasn't wearing her life vest, went swimming and died. But it's like, to me, and once again, it's unfortunate anytime anyone passes away, or, you know, supposedly passes away. But it's like, was Glee that big of a fucking hit?
So wait. So did they haven't found this lady's body?
They have not found the body.
But
no, she's presumed dead.
But they're already calling it as a drowning, like
They're
she drowned?
yeah, because they don't know how else. So this is what it says. It says the Ventura County Sheriff's Department has not yet found Rivera as of Friday afternoon, citing murky waters and difficult conditions. The Glee singer and actor went missing on Wednesday at Lake Piru, according to local media officials. They said that there was reports of a child alone on a boat, and they found her 4-year-old son. After hours of searching, authorities shifted the search to a recovery operation. So they did find her son alive. He was sleeping on the boat, but no one knows where this lady is. And yes, she was presumed dead today, I believe. But it's like, it's not like this is like, I'm going to use a dated reference because I can't even think of a good television show in the last 20 years, but like, it's not like this is an actor who was on Full House. It's not like John Stamos is out there.
Right.
You know, and it's unfortunate, like definitely it deserves media coverage, but what the fuck is Glee?
Yeah. Dude, I don't know, maybe like some like younger like hipsters were into that show.
Yeah, man, maybe.
I don't even know what the premise of it is. So
it has to be that. It has to be that this is just a show that we're too old for.
Right.
It has to be. And maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't know anything about this show. I just know that I heard this lady had passed away, and that's unfortunate. Don't know what she's famous for.
How long before that lady that was working with Epstein ends up dead? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
I don't remember her name, but she was like right hand woman.
Yeah, man, that Epstein shit. Like that's a real murky thing.
I don't know enough about it that I think that I could really, have an opinion. But
it's one of those murky things where like, so you have that whole belief of there being an underground sex operation and this dude being a part of different organizations that were trafficking people into sex, whether they be children or women or whatever. And then like he was also friends with like Prince Harry or somebody. And like he had some type of connection to the Clintons. Everybody thinks the Clintons killed him in prison. And then like, yeah, there's this other lady who there's a documentary on Netflix now about like evil Epstein or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I know more. And I think I think a lot of people are with me on this. I know more about his death than I do anything about the guy.
Right. I never even heard his name before he was
dead.
So,
like, no, like that's no, who the fuck is who is he? And then he dies, and everyone's like, oh, you know Jeffrey Epstein? Like he's been doing this and this and this and no, who the fuck is this asshole?
Yeah.
And listen, it's a shame any time anybody dies, but like, sorry if I'm not invested in it, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Oh Lord, here we go.
How long? So earlier in the year, we saw like Kobe Bryant died, and the world was like sad for like 2 months. Let's say that. Let's use someone who you would really probably like resonate with. All right, so you're like a '90s guy. Give me some things that you like, Landon. Give me some things that you like. What are some movies you like?
Ooh, movies. I'm into horror movies. Pretty much.
All right.
Any like B or C horror movies are kind of like my favorite.
See, that makes it difficult.
Yeah,
because
like
I'm trying to think of like what's the name of a person who, if they died, like how long would you actually grieve that? Like, okay, let's say Eminem dies. You're a hip hop guy.
Yeah.
Let's say Eminem dies tomorrow. How long are you going to grieve his death? Like, how long are you going to be sad about it?
Absolutely 0. I don't really give a fuck. Honestly, I don't care. None of that affects me, and I know it affects other people, and they get all tore up when their favorite actors or actresses die or whatever. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I like them for the stuff that they've done in the past, and I have access to that stuff, so I don't really care.
Like that's the thing is like I think like death of
I'm a cold-hearted asshole though, so
yeah, but I think like death of heroes and celebrities, it treats everybody a little bit differently. Like I'm somebody who my musical taste is old, so everybody who I learned to love is dead. Okay, Willie Nelson is about the only one left, and it's like everybody else who I ever enjoyed is dead. And it's like, okay, that's sad. Like a lot of them have died in my lifetime. I'm sad for a couple days, but it's like, they were old dudes anyway. the thing is like when a freak accident like what happened to Kobe happens, I mean, it was like 2 months of the whole world like shutting down, like, and just being sad.
Yeah, people were really tore up about that, dude. And
Yeah.
did you see the video of it?
Yeah, I
the
did.
Helicopter going in.
Yeah. But that's unfortunate too, because then there's like kids involved and other people involved.
Yeah.
It's like anytime there's kids, I feel shitty.
Right.
Like you can't even make jokes about that because it's shitty.
Right. And
but like,
typically I just avoid even talking about any of that crap because like people have such strong opinions about it, and I don't care. So,
yeah, and that's the thing too. So then you have cancel culture comes into play. Like, for example, the comedian Ari Shaffir. If you watch Rogan, you know who Ari Shaffir is.
Yeah.
He made a joke the day Kobe died, and the world canceled him.
Oh, really?
And like, it took him literally. He was unable. Like he had his Twitter locked down. Like you couldn't follow him or comment or anything. His Instagram, all that, up until last. Like Kobe died in like January.
Just for making a Kobe comment?
Yes.
What is up with this world and this cancel culture bullcrap,
I mean,
dude?
hey, listen, was his comment insensitive? Definitely. It was definitely insensitive.
He's a comedian. It's supposed to be.
And that's the thing. And it's like too, like, I remember when Robin Williams died, and like I don't know, maybe I'm different. I put Robin Williams on a higher pedestal than Kobe. Maybe it's because I'm not a basketball guy. When Robin Williams died, nobody gave a fuck. There were no fucks given.
Right.
What? So you're going to tell me that, well, this guy died in a freak accident, so that's sad, but this guy was through mental torment enough to kill himself, and that's, piss on that guy. Or like you earlier, the Dusty Rhodes phone call brought up Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Well, like, Chris Benoit has CTE, kills his family and himself. Piss on that guy. We'll forget about him tomorrow.
Right.
What the fuck?
Dude, people forgot about Chris Benoit quick.
But here's the thing, though. They forgot about Chris Benoit, but they didn't forget about Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
And it's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing.
It's interesting how people react to celebrity gossip and stuff like that. It's so interesting to watch because I'm so, I'm so out of the arena with that type of stuff. I do not.
You mean to tell me you weren't keeping up with the Kardashians?
Dude, I don't keep up with none of that. No, I don't even have normal TV.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like, a lot of people don't even realize I don't have TV. I have Netflix because, my little one watches it, and here and there I might watch a movie off it. But I mean, beyond that, like I don't watch anything. I don't watch any of the news stuff. And if I do try to look at news things, I look at more independent sources, and try to look at everybody's.
Everybody's
because everybody's got a different opinion on it. So.
and that's the thing too, is it's like, so now with cancel culture, you only get one side of the story. So like with the Ari Shaffir thing, you only get the side of it that, oh well, this guy made two, because it was multiple jokes, because anytime one of his comedic friends would post something, he would comment on their stuff, and there were two big ones. There was the tweet he made, which, by the way, he makes a tweet anytime someone dies, including friends. And then there was a comment he put on Bert Kreischer's post about Kobe dying. And, like, people just buried this dude. But what they didn't realize is when he made the jokes, he didn't realize there were kids involved. And do I think it would have been different? Yes. I don't think he would. I think he still would have made jokes about it. I think he still hates Kobe, because I do believe he hates Kobe. But I think had he known there were kids involved, he would have maybe not acted the way he did.
Yeah. But I mean, even with that, dude, at the end of the day, he's a comedian, and they're supposed to be edgy. They're supposed to be able to. I don't know, dude. Man.
But that's the whole thing now. Like, comedians can't say the R word.
Oh, really? So that's now a thing.
Yeah, you can't say the R word as a comedian.
And now you can't make any type of racial comment either, because by God, you can make
racial comments if you're
of that race.
if you're not white, you can make the racial comments. Like, because like let's just be honest here. Like Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, that is their comedy act. And like, and listen, I love those guys. I love those guys as comics. And I'll tell you, Eddie Murphy was one of the funniest. He had the funniest thing where he talked about getting a call from Bill Cosby. Okay. Now this is before Bill Cosby was caught sticking the jello in the pudding. Yeah. But, Bill Cosby used to have this thing with African American comedians where he didn't think that they should swear. He didn't think they should be obscene because it makes them all look bad. It makes all African American comedians look bad. And so he called Eddie Murphy and he's you shouldn't talk that way. And Eddie Murphy goes something like, well, you should have a Coke and shut the fuck up, you know? And like,
oh, but dude, Bill Cosby back in the day was all big on telling people that they shouldn't cuss and all.
And that's the thing. So that's why it's funny. Like, you know, 20 years later, Bill Cosby's the person who's raping everybody, and like he was doing it at that time. Because the earliest encounters that he had raping women was before the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, this dude, and, like, it's one of those other things, and I heard this from Rogan. He said it was one of those things in show business that people talked about and joked about, and none of us knew if it was serious or not. And by the time we realized it was serious, everything had already happened.
Yeah, too late at that point.
Yeah, because I guess, like, they used to talk about it in the Comedy Store. Like, for those of you who don't understand, like, what we're talking about, Joe Rogan is a commentator, but he's also a comedian himself. And a lot of times at, like, the comedy shows, what these guys do is backstage, they'll all sit and talk to each other and laugh, because comedians do that. And they all talk about it. They all talk about stuff. And, like, he said consistently there would be people who talk about, well, you know, Bill Cosby rapes bitches. And people weren't sure if it was like a joke or not, because like a comedian tells you that and you're like laughing it off. And he's like, when we realized it was true, it was too late.
Yeah.
You know? And like, that's the same thing with like Matt Lauer. Like, everybody knows Matt Lauer on the Today Show. Did you ever watch and see the creepy way he would make contact with women?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like once the cat was out of the bag there. With that one, it's kind of like now you're seeing a lot of these like compilation videos of like Joe Biden doing weird shit. Yeah. But I remember the Matt Lauer one. There was some really weird ones on there.
I knew Matt Lauer was a weirdo before all that shit. And I was like 7 years old, and he was doing an interview with like Paris Hilton or somebody.
Yeah.
And they were on stools, and he had his shoes off, and he was just rubbing his socked foot up against her leg.
No, he wasn't.
Dude, I swear to God, look up Matt Lauer sock or something. Look it up right now. Look up Matt Lauer rubbing his foot or something on somebody. It's the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Let me see if I can just pull this up right now.
He's wearing like a blue suit and brown socks, and he's rubbing his foot up against this lady's leg.
Was it Paris Hilton?
It might have been. I don't remember exactly. I just remember that it happened.
Jamie, pull that up for me.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie, would you pull that up? That's a Joe Rogan reference, everybody. We're going to be doing a lot of those.
Oh, man. All that pops up is sexual assault. Oh, here's a video right here. Matt Lauer's foot fetish. Should we play this?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, I'm going to play it. Let's see what happens.
For the past few weeks, I've been having fun with Matt Lauer. And if you don't know, Matt Lauer, first of all, I don't know if he thinks it's fun, but I do, and that's what matters. It started when 50 Shades of Grey came out. I showed a clip where it made it look like Matt was dressed in this.
What?
And last week I showed another clip of Matt Lauer's dressing room.
This is obviously
and I may have altered it just a bit. It's Photoshop because the real whips he has are blue, not red. So Matt says he wants to get me back, and I think it's time to stop this before it gets out of hand. I want to say, Matt, I'm done with the 50 Shades jokes, and you're a great guy. I love you.
Obviously, this was before anything came out, but I forgot you didn't get to see that there, Dylan. But
you know what I bet you they did? I bet you NBC took down all the videos, because I can tell you I looked up the video not too long before the Matt Lauer thing happened.
Well, I'll make a note of it, and if I find it, I'll bring it up next week when you come on.
Yeah, I couldn't see the video on my end. Whatever the fuck
I heard.
it.
They photoshopped Matt Lauer's head on like this dude who was just wearing like leather chaps and stuff and had handcuffs and like a big hairy chest. Oh, that was great. That was great.
But and that's the thing, man, is a lot of these fucking people. Like, that's the other thing, is looking at it now, like, we realize Bill Cosby did a show with children, right?
Yes, yes.
Like, the Cosby Show had children, and then they had kids say the darndest things, and that was just based on kids. Like, I'm not saying that he's a fucking pedo, but like, that's a weird fucking place for him. Yeah.
And it's, dude, just to go back to like how weird it is that, you know, behind the scenes, he was like, oh, you guys shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. We got to look good. We can't be doing that. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe they do that to try to make themselves feel good about the crap that they do. It's kind of like
what I think it is?
These priests who are like raping kids and stuff. It's like, oh, let me do all this good stuff so I don't feel as bad about,
you know what I think it is? I think he's trying to detract what he's doing by calling out what other people are doing. Because he was consistently known for doing that.
Oh, trying to just like keep the eye off him?
Yeah, he was consistently known for doing shit to like take him to take any ramifications were automatically taken off of him, because there were a lot of deplorable things that he did that weren't rapey. Like I don't know if you know this, what was that movie? Oh shit, there was a movie back in the day where he thought that the movie was racist, so he bought the movie and vowed it would never be played just because he thought it was racist.
What? Bill Cosby did this?
Yes.
Oh my God.
But meanwhile, this is the same dude that came out with the Fat Albert.
Yeah.
So like,
that's crazy,
what?
Dude. I didn't know that. That's
weird.
Weird.
I forget what the movie is. I can tell you about the movie, but I forget what the movie's called. Little Rascals. That's it. Little Rascals.
Wait, Little Rascals is out though.
Yes. Bill Cosby, and I don't know if it was the original black and white version, which I think it was, or if it was the later color version, or if he owns both. But he thought, which, to be fair, if it was the original Little Rascals that's in black and white, it was kind of racist. But it was also a different time. He bought the movie so it wouldn't be aired.
But it's out there so people can see it.
Yeah. But it's out. I mean, it's out there now. That you have to remember too, though. Now we have the time of the internet. At the time when he did that, it wasn't.
Oh, got you.
It was before YouTube and all that shit. You know, it was still.
Yeah. See, like never mind. I'm not gonna make that comment. There's just some things I'm gonna keep to myself, I guess.
Sometimes
there's another, speaking of like movies that just kind of got lost. Have you seen that movie that's it's on like Amazon Prime now? It's called Antrim, and it's this movie, like it's like a documentary about a movie that apparently kills people when they watch it, right? So and not like in like this
like The Grudge?
Yeah, not in like The Grudge type of way. It's like every time that movie was played, like in a theater or whatever, or a festival, like in a theater, for example, it would burn down and all the people inside of it died. And they did it in another theater and it killed a bunch of people.
Is this like a true, wait, is this a true thing though?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, everybody says that it was a real thing. I haven't like actually done the research. So
maybe there again though, that's like a bit, like, because that reminds me of like, fuck, I can't remember anything today. The Blair Witch Project, when they put out the first Blair Witch movie, it was supposedly like, this is real, and like what they did is, if you don't know about the Blair Witch Project, it's a super fucked up thing that the people who made that movie did. The actors didn't know what was going to happen.
It was great.
So kind of like in the movie Alien, when the alien pops out of the dude's chest and the actors didn't know that was going to happen. Imagine that, but the entire movie. These guys were legitimately losing their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know.
Yeah, they fed them less food and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, all of that was legit.
Yeah, and so like a lot of times these guys having breakdowns on camera was them legitimately having breakdowns on camera. It reminds me of this is a reference one person's going to get, so I will baby you through it. There was a show that aired for one season called Kid Nation. Okay. Kid Nation, they took like 60 kids, drove them into the middle of the desert hole style, and they had to build up their own like colony. They had their own merchant system. Dude, look it up. They had their own merchant system. They had to compete in games for prizes and like shit like that. And like they only did one season, but these kids had the only adults around were like producers and the host of the show. And like the one kid's done an interview about it, and you don't hear much about the show because the way that the kid explained it, who did the interview, he did the interview with YouTuber JonTron. Mm-hmm. He said that like they pretty much killed the existence of that show. Like no one talks about it anymore. And he's like, what you don't understand is there was a day where I legitimately ran away, but the way that they kept us in the city, there was like a huge circle around the town of armed guards.
What?
And he said the armed guards were there for two reasons. Number one, to keep the kids in, but number two, to keep predators out. And not like sexual predators, but like fucking coyotes and snakes and shit like that.
Yeah, we got Patricia in the chat saying that it was like an old west town that they were.
Yeah. See, that's the one person. That's the one person, Landon. And so it's like, yeah, it's an old west town. So this
was a TV show.
Yes.
Kids Nation.
Kid Nation.
I want to have to look this up because this sounds crazy, dude.
So yeah, we'll talk about this in one of these future shows. But so all these kids go to this town and they're like doing like Survivor-esque challenges. And like at the end of the first challenge, it's like, so you guys won your first challenge. You can either get this TV or 15 extra porta potties, because they only had one, not porta potties, outhouse, because they only had one outhouse. There's 60 kids, 30 kids, whatever the number is, and there's one outhouse.
What?
And the kids said that the sleeping, like the environment for sleep, they were like sleeping on cots with like foam on them that were this big, and they didn't have pillows. So the kid would use his jacket as a pillow, and the desert gets really cold, so they didn't have blankets. And he said like, what people don't realize is there was only one day that they fed us. Every other day we had to feed ourselves. And he goes, one girl got really burnt for real because, you know, you put kids in a kitchen with oil and shit and they hurt themselves. One girl was trying to cook and she burned herself with the oil. Like, dude, it's the fucking wildest thing. What
was the end goal of this show? I mean, what were they trying to go for?
So every 7 days there's a town hall meeting, and at the town hall meeting the kids get to say if they want to keep going or if they quit. At the end of the first town hall meeting, the youngest person there said, I'm too young for this, and left. And that's the kid who did the interview with JonTron. And basically the goal was like, at the end of the show you get a gold star that's worth $25,000.
I would like some gold stars worth 25 grand.
That's the incentive for these kids. But these are fucking kids who don't understand money. Like the youngest one there was like 6 or 8, right. And the oldest one there is like maybe 15.
I'm not even sure how this was legal, dude.
That's the no, like even in the JonTron interview, he's like, how the fuck is this legal? Like, what the fuck? He's like, well, you know, your parents just agree to it. And he's like, they were there. And so JonTron was like, so what were you actually spending your money? And he's like, the kid who was 6 at the time, he's like, I spent all of my money at the saloon on root beer and candy.
Of course he did.
Of course.
What else would a 6-year-old spend money on?
Because you're fucking 6. But then this kid runs completely out of money the first week, and he can't like buy basic necessity items because he doesn't understand that. And he said there would be like guys on the production team that would say like, hey, I saw a couple of rocks over there. It looks like there were some shiny coins over there, and they were basically giving him money because they felt bad. But like, he's like, yeah, it was super fucked up looking back at it. Like, he's like, I don't even know how it's legal, but I'm telling you, it was called Kid Nation.
I'm gonna have to look that up. That's
fucking
absolutely crazy.
Fucking hysterical, Landon.
Patricia says the kids voted every week for the top kid, and they got extra money to spend if they were the top kid.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. It's
See, we had someone
like
actually
Big
follow.
Brother
She knows the
or
show
something.
more than I know the show. That's the thing, is like
For
Big
little
Brother
kids.
for kids.
What?
And like, even in like Big Brother, though, like the fucking fridge is stocked and they have suitable sleeping arrangements.
I guess it's
yeah,
an
man.
interesting premise. I mean, if I heard that, I'd be like, I mean, I am right now. I'm like, yeah, I want to watch that. That sounds.
Yeah, let's sign your daughter up.
No.
You don't think she could handle it?
Absolutely not. No way that's happening.
Oh man, that
No
was
way.
some funny shit. Well, how old is she?
My little one will be 5 in December.
She's not eligible yet. I think the youngest one there was 8.
Yeah.
I think you had to be at least 8.
No.
Because I think when he originally went in for the casting call, he was 6, and then the show took place when he was 8, and he was able to go. But yeah, man,
they don't have enough snack packs and Lunchables there for my kid to want to go.
they were feeding themselves. They had to John Tron asked the kid, he's like, so what would you guys do? He's like, a lot of times the food would just turn to mush and we had to eat it because there was nothing else.
Oh my god, that's so crazy.
And like then
There's
he
no
asked,
way
like,
that
he's
would
like-
happen today.
So John Tron asked him, he's like, dude, this was like in the mid 2000s.
What?
And so John Tron asked the kid, he goes, so like when you went home, what happened? He's like, they sent me with one of the production assistants. We got on a plane. I stayed in a hotel for 2 days. I had to share a hotel with this stranger, and they just let me order room service and chill. And then I got home to my mom like 3 days later.
Listen, if you were one of those neglected children on Kids Nation, we do have open lines here at 706-237-8230. You can call in and tell us how shitty your life was.
And then listen, that number is open to anybody who's watching as well. Landon, could you repeat that one more time?
That's 706-237-8230. It's right there on the screen. If you miss it, you're probably blind. I ain't gonna lie.
Jesus. But yeah, man, fucking funny shit. I'm trying to think of like what other shows are like fucked up like that. Like you remember, maybe you're too old for this. Do you remember on like late 90s Nickelodeon, early 2000s, The Legends of the Hidden Temple?
Yeah, that like game show thing?
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah, where they like had to go through like the maze.
There's so basically there's this big stone creature. Welcome to the Legends of the Hidden Temple. And he's like, it's like a game show where you have to ask these kids all sorts of questions, and each show had like a theme. So like one show would be like themed colonial American history. One show would be themed Great Egyptian history. And this stone guy would ask these kids questions and they'd have to answer them right. But there were also like different like things they had to do. Like the first challenge they had to do was, and this was every episode because it was before they even got to any questions, there was this moat. And there were like these rafts, and you had to get both your teammates across. And then 2 teams right off the bat get booted off the show immediately because they weren't able to do it. So it's the first like 4 teams that cross, and there's like 6 teams to start with. And all of the teams are like the purple jaguars, the red monkeys, the green jaguar. You know, I think I said jaguar twice. I don't fucking know. And like, so these kids are doing this, and they're like, probably 13 years old, maybe 12. And like, then they get to the next step, and there's like these stairs that they have to like, it's like Jeopardy. You have to step on the stair to buzz in and answer the question right. If you don't, someone else can answer it. Right. And they're asking these kids like super high level questions. Like, I don't know if I can answer. I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I don't know if I can answer some of these questions these kids were getting asked. But it's like, there again, it's like, are you smarter than a 5th grader logic, where like these 5th graders are like fucking geniuses. Yeah. And like, you know, but like, then you get to the end of the show, and like, these kids have to go through these mazes, but like, there's like dudes who would like jump out of the maze and like grab the children, and that's how you know your team died. And then you just go home with nothing. Well, you went home with like the whatever the free prize was, like,
Yeah.
you know, moon boots or whatever the fuck. I don't know what was the thing at the time. Nickelodeon had a whole channel on kids doing crazy shit that was called Guts.
They
Do
had
you
a
remember
channel?
that, Landon? Yeah, they had a whole channel. It was called Guts.
No, dude, I don't
And it was
remember
like-
any of this. I
and
mean, I
on
remember
Guts-
that show, like, but no, I don't remember Guts. Anything.
Guts was a whole channel where like they would put these kids like in swimming events and like hurdle events, and like these kids were like fucking killing each other on this shit, man. Like I don't know how it was
God.
legal. Like, you know, it's just fucking hysterical. Like to be a kid again and go back and watch that shit with like my mind now, I would just be laughing.
You know, they don't really make any like awesome good game shows like that anymore. I mean, actually there's one now that's out on Netflix that I've been watching. The Floor is Lava. Have you been watching that, dude?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Oh my god, you got to go and watch it. So there's this Netflix show. It's called The Floor is Lava, and it's like they just create these different rooms where like the floor is water that's like red water, and it's like bubbling and stuff like it's lava, and they have like all these little obstacle things you have to go over to get to the other side of the room. It's great, dude, because it's just mindless entertainment when you're, you know, with all the bull crap going on in the world, just being able to put something like that on and not even think about it is awesome, dude. The Floor is Lava.
Yeah, but it's all fun and games until someone fucking drowns, Landon.
Yeah, well.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
He's just another statistic.
Just drowns in lava.
like, man, that's like, do you remember the show Wipeout?
Oh yeah. Where the obstacle course are like knocking people off.
Yeah,
podiums
bro.
and
They
stuff.
had, and it was all like innuendo. Like, we're gonna jump on the big balls.
Right.
Like and it's like,
That's
what's
like that.
fucking-
What is that? Like, what was it? The little Chinese dudes who were commentating on like these people going through this obstacle course. Come on, I know you have to.
I don't know
this
what
one.
Chinese people. The
It's
people
like,
that I was watching on Wipeout were American. I don't know what the
Damn,
fuck.
Lee's
they're
in the
talking
chat. I know Lee remembers this. It's like, damn, it used to come on Spike TV, and they would like, it was like filmed in Japan, and like it was completely different language, and they had like these white people. Yeah, MXC Satchel's in there. MXC. Come on, do you remember that?
I don't. I've never seen it.
Oh
No,
my
I'll have
God,
to now.
it was hilarious. Like little Japanese dudes and like white people would voice over on them. And it
Like
totally
people
did
voice like a fucking one of those old movies. Can we just take a second too to talk about how racist old movies were? Like anytime there was supposed to be an Asian played in a movie, like, listen, I shit you not, this is hysterical. I just learned about the movie Kung Fu Panda today.
What?
I swear to God. I was talking to one of my friends and he's like, you ever watch Kung Fu Panda? Because you remind me of Poe. And I'm like, what the fuck's a Poe? Like, I know the Teletubby Poe, you know, because like Pinky Dinky Poe. And like, he's like, no, it's the Kung Fu Panda. I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, basically, it's this panda who gets adopted by this goose.
Yep.
And he decides he wants to be a Kung Fu Panda. And I'm like, wait. So the panda represents a white person being adopted by a Japanese goose, and he's like, yes. And I'm like, can you pull up a bit of the? And I asked my friend, I was like, can you pull up a bit of the goose? And the goose is like, oh, po, oh. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's terrible.
Noodle soup.
Yeah, like he fucking sure they got away with this in like 2008 or whatever. What the fuck?
I've got to play this. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dude, I cannot believe you. It's called Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. I cannot believe you have not seen this.
We really are jumping all over the place. I hope everybody enjoys the show.
I do not even care. I have to play this. All right, let me pull this up on the big screen here. I'm going to play just one of these eliminations here. Here we go.
Now, am I going to be able to see it or just hear?
Oh, you're just going to be able to hear it.
Okay.
We still got to figure that out. Okay, here we go. Change this camera around. All right.
Another fine competition, Ken. And now, the winners of the MySpace least number of friends contest, Rob Shaftel and Tim Duffy.
Dude, it's It's these little Chinese people doing that. Just talking.
It's time for Kenny Blankenship's Painful Eliminations of the Day.
And starting at number 10 is priapism sufferer Phil Pfizer, who's rocked hard as he smashes into this rock. Hard. At number 9, Conan the Testarian, who fails miserably. Guess he couldn't pass the test. And number 8 goes to Brittany Smears, who hasn't made a misstep like this since she showed us support for Peanut.
That's what I'm telling you, dude. This show you.
Number 7 goes to Harrison Fjord.
Damn,
This
I
pot
used to
smoker
come home
rolls
from
himself
school
over the
and
log
watch it.
and goes down with blunt force. And slipping into number 6 is Christian Harry Falwell. Look, there's only one set of
You hear the terrible, like, white people
And number
commentary?
5, acidic superhero Goldman, who passes over the contraceptive sponges and makes an early
Well,
exodus.
see, but they're doing that. They're trying to be
Number
funny,
4
though.
goes to Corey
That's the
Powell.
thing.
This 4-star war veteran checks himself straight into General Hospital. Number 3,
I gotta make it
Sons
to
of the
one
Lamb
at this
Chops,
point.
Hannibal Lagasse, who tenderizes his liver and eats it with a side of shame. Bam!
Oh.
2, Hermaphrodite, Jamie Lee Coitus. The girl part of her just couldn't make up her mind when to fall, so she crushes herself on every obstacle. Ouch! And my most painful elimination of the day goes to Jennifer Love Eustace. This now 2 heartbreaker freaks her face on this rock, but she still manages to crack a smile. Whoa! Yeah.
That is hilarious, dude.
See, here's what they're doing, though. What they're doing is they're doing over-the-top commentary on something that isn't that exciting.
Dude, this was the greatest thing ever watching this growing up.
But see, that's the thing. If it wasn't for that commentary, though, that wouldn't be entertaining.
This was like, this is where Ninja Warrior came from. You know,
Okay.
American Ninja
Yeah,
Warrior.
I know Ninja Warrior.
This is the crap that came from. This is like extremely low budget Ninja Warrior.
See, like, that's
Oh my
fucking
God.
hysterical. That's funny.
Thank you,
But it's
Satchel,
only-
for that, for remembering.
Yeah,
that name.
thank you
There's
so
no
much for that.
fucking
It's
way I
only
remembered
funny
that.
though, like, yeah, and that's funny that you said like Spike TV because at the time, like, I know Spike TV for 3 reasons. Number 1, early days Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
Number 2, they had the Ultimate Fighter,
Yep.
and number 3, much later, they had Bar Rescue.
Mm-hmm. They still
Like-
hold it, or is USA?
I don't think Spike's a thing anymore.
Oh, it's not. Okay, it tells you how
I
long
think-
I've not had TV.
I don't think Spike's a thing anymore. I think it's a new. I don't know what it is, but I don't think Spike's a thing anymore.
Yeah,
but
see,
like
that show right there, and even Jerry just commented because I remember this now. Is MXC used to come on right after Raw. As soon as Raw would end, this show would come on, and it would be like the replay of the afternoon.
see, I would have been too tired at that point. I was fucking like, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
like I don't know how long. Like I was a kid.
Well,
kid at that.
you're way younger than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're
like
what? You're like 8 years younger than me. 10 years.
I'm 20.
Okay,
So
so
you're-
you're 8. You're
Yeah.
8. Well, 9. This year will be 9
Yeah.
years.
So like that's the thing is like yeah, I know everybody, I'm 20. I know it's a hard looking 20. I'm sorry. But like well fuck, we're gonna call it what it is, Landon. But like that's the thing is like I remember a lot of this shit, but yeah, that's one that went under my radar. Do you remember TNN?
TNN.
TNN.
That sounds familiar, but
TNN
I keep thinking
was what-
TNT.
TNN was the network before Spike. TNN was what Spike became. TNN was known for being the NASCAR, wrestling, and country music thing because they had they did ECW for a while, then they got the WWE, which turned into Spike, which is why WWE was on Spike.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had all sorts of different country music shit, which is why I know what TNN is. And then they had NASCAR, which fucking who cares, you know? If you're a NASCAR fan, sorry, but I don't know how fun driving in a circle could be. How many people did I just offend, Landon? How many people?
Let me see. We just had 4 drop off. Oh wait, we just gained 6 more. Nope. We're good.
Nice. Thank you. Listen, like I said, I hope everybody's enjoying the show because me and Landon are just dicking around,
Yeah.
having a good time.
Honestly,
And we're
for
glad to have
those
you guys.
people that are just joining in or haven't been here since the start, this was completely just to, test all these stupid buttons and all.
But
that
here's
stuff. We
the thing,
still
Landon.
haven't had somebody call in though, so I can make sure that shit works. So somebody call in and call us an asshole. Actually, I got another phone call if you want to listen to this, Dylan.
Go ahead.
This is so back in the day, right? I used to be obsessed with watching like public access TV, right? Just these terrible shows that these people would put on public access. And now, since YouTube's out, there is tons of great footage from other cities that I just simply wasn't able to watch. So here's two ladies doing their public access show. I don't even know what the hell this show's about, but this is quite funny.
The dildo lady?
No. I know who you're talking about, but no. This one's funny though. Let me make sure this mic's up here. Here we go.
If you have questions for my lovely guest, Chris Andre, who is a futurist, a farmer, an artist, a crazy lady who loves to make trouble and change the world.
And we're going to talk about
this is a really big fat lady.
Real quick?
Yeah. Oh, stop it.
So the first thing that I want to say is this fucking lady who's hosting this has absolutely no confidence in the person she's about to interview.
Oh no.
Keep going.
Well, wait till you hear it. So the main lady that's talking is this huge woman, and then hold on. Here we go. We're getting a call. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Just kidding. Let me turn this on. Hello. You're on the air. Are you there? Can you hear him, Dylan?
He's super low, but I can hear him.
Oh, let me I think I can turn this up. Hold on.
Everybody, we're working out some kinks. I hope he can hear me, so he's not just talking to the abyss.
All right. Well, go ahead, caller. What you got?
I just wanted to know what you do for a Klondike bar.
What would I do for a Klondike bar? This is actually quite funny here. And thank you for calling in. I'm glad that you can hear Dylan too, right?
Well, yeah.
Testing. Can you hear me too, partner?
I can.
God forbid this low budget piece of shit show actually worked out.
Holy shit.
Now,
Thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, thanks for your call. We're going to talk about this now. Appreciate it. So I actually know this guy who just called in here, and what would we do for a Klondike bar? This is actually kind of funny, and then we'll get back to our prank call. And thanks again for calling in. I needed to make sure that worked, so good job. Back when I was in high school and I got my very first video camera.
Oh Jesus!
Me and this guy right here, we used to go around and we would like interview people and ask them what they would do for a Klondike bar, right? And so we started getting like these really, crazy things that people said they would do. And then we were like, okay, well then, do it. This show this interview style thing led to another show that we did that was called NADS, and it was called Nuts and Dick Shots. And we used to like pay people to hit themselves in the nuts in like different ways, like really extreme ways. And it was hilarious, dude. Like we had this one like homeless black guy took a shot to the nuts from this guy going in a half pipe on a skateboard and rode it right into his nuts. Dude, I have to find the videos from this. Lee,
did you give him a Klondike bar at least?
Oh, yeah. But we used to, dude, you should hear some of the stuff people said they would do for a Klondike bar. I mean, if I was a few years older, I could have probably got laid a lot from just that, because people, I mean, yeah, it was crazy. I have to dig up these videos, Lee. If you have, I know that you've got comment or links here.
I guess
to these videos because they're on YouTube somewhere.
I guess I have to be that guy and say that even though I am a fat, repulsive human being, I do not like ice cream. So
what?
You couldn't pay me to eat a Klondike bar.
You're fucked up.
I know, man.
Fucked up.
I don't like ice cream.
We used to have we took this shopping cart one time, and we used to carry the shopping cart around. Yes, okay, it's actually on YouTube. Lee just posted the name of it. Let me see if I can find it. This is so great. It's called A Day at the Park. In my shopping cart. Dude, if this pulls up.
Normally, guys, we're doing bits right now that normally you do like at the end of your show. We are starting off right out of the gate, pulling out bits that Landon did when he was fucking 18.
God. Okay, I got it. It's literally up here. It's 11 years ago, bro. 11 years ago.
You have to pull up the video so I can see it because I want to see it.
Hold on, let me pull this up. I'm gonna share my screen right here so people can see this. Let me just make sure that happened. Oh my god, I cannot believe that this thing is on here. Okay, that's working. All right, let me share my screen with Dylan here so he can see this. Oh my god.
A lot of production shit's going into this shitty ass show, everybody. A lot of production shit.
Okay, you can see that, Dylan? Here we go.
Yep.
Let me read this description. Hey, or haha, please don't try this. Thanks to Landon, Lee, and Spanky, aka Buttons, Pork Stack, and 3 random Rockmark dudes. What? I have not seen this in at least 10 years. Come on. Mindless entertainment.
We're back out here on the second day of the Life and Times of Jesus Christ. And, well, we have a shopping cart. Don't ask us how we got it. Just know that we have a shopping cart. And we're at my former place of establishment, the skate park. What's going to happen is we're going to have random members of our cast basically going off skate ramps and doing retarded things with the shopping cart.
This is the guy that just called in, by the way.
You'll see the video on YouTube, so wish us luck.
It's only worth it. It's called the car crash. Oh, we gotta wait for this.
Say hey, Fluffy.
Take this, Debbie.
This is so stupid. So that's me pushing that cart when I was just a young boy.
I think it was a thing.
Oh my god, he landed right on his head. Oh.
I'm Landon Wells, and this is the car crash, part 2.
And here's the thing. This is what happens, everybody, when a whole generation... Oh my god!
Dude, that's me in a clown.
Rainbow in this color, drop it.
Look at this.
What the fuck?
Look at this.
Oh, Jesus! Fuck!
Oh my god, I can't stop it.
Hey, Will, don't you want to get out of the way?
This is just some random dude that's walking down the street. We're
Landon,
like,
you
dude,
want
we'll
me
give you $5 if you do.
Hey, Joe Bobby. What, man?
My name's Joe Bobby.
Joe Bobby.
There is no safe landing, everyone. There is no safe
Long day at the skate
landing.
park. We've hurt some people. We paid some black guys to jump in the half pipes. Frankie won't do anything for us, and Kevin's, he's not going to do anything either, so we're going to call this a day on Jesus Christ. That's it.
Oh my god, dude. That is the greatest
Holy
thing
shit.
I've
Listen.
Oh my god.
This is what happens when Jackass inspires an entire generation. Oh my god, that's fucking funny.
Oh, Lee.
Wow.
Oh my
Thank
god.
you so much for posting,
I
for
needed
bringing
that.
that to the attention.
Look,
was
this
great.
is how much of a degenerate I was from a very young age, that we were going around paying random black guys and homeless people to jump out in a shopping cart so we could push them over.
And here's the problem. Here's the problem. Now we have to go from that to playing a shitty phone call.
Oh my god, I gotta find the rest of those videos, Lee.
Well, by all means, Landon, play your shitty phone call. Let's get it over with.
My buddy Lee, who was the one commentating that video, he just commented in the chat and he's like, and that's exactly why I can never run for public office.
That's why everybody a part of that taping is CTE right now.
Why did I put a clown suit on? Oh god. Okay, let's play this fat lady and this skinny lady that's retarded. Here we go.
If you have questions for my lovely guest, Chris Andre, who is a futurist, a farmer, an artist, a crazy lady who loves to make trouble and change the world.
And we're going to talk about astrology and
Yes, we are.
permaculture, which
We
is
are, but you know what? I do think we have a caller here. So let's see what this person has to say.
Jump
Hi
right
there,
to the
welcome
line.
show.
Oh boy.
Hey, how you doing?
We're good, but did you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering when you birds are going to show your titties.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Bye. Oh, dearie me. Let's try that again, shall we?
Dearie me.
And so, hi, caller, you're on the show.
Hi, I was wondering for the cameraman if you could stop showing close-up pictures of your two ugly house frows.
Oh, please. Some people really
Is
have
that
no
the same
concept
one?
of. I don't know. Some people really just need to.
Did it
find
sound
something
like
more
the
interesting
same
to
guy,
do on
you
Monday
stupid
night.
gorilla?
Hi there, caller. You're on the show.
Evolution has a plan for them.
Hi, she was speaking of rich soils earlier. I was wondering if she keeps her mud cutter very clean.
And they're
You
so
know, this is
desperate
really
for
like-
calls, dude. They
this is a
just
very
keep
interesting
going.
phenomenon, I
Well,
must
that's
say.
what public
I mean,
access
we could have
does.
a whole treatise on what motivates people
I think
to
there's
do
like
this, but
2 more. Hold
let's
on.
continue, shall we? Okay, that person is gone. And let's see, let's try this again.
I want to invite those callers.
Caller, hi, you're on the show.
I don't know what's going on with these callers, man. I apologize for that.
They're pretty crazy. Okay, what was your question?
Want to watch me jerk off?
Oh, please.
I want callers. You're welcome to come to my place. We can use
Hi there,
all
caller.
the compost and manure.
Hopefully you'll be better behaved than some of these folks. What did you have to say?
Hi, I was wondering about different kinds of polishes for my Schween collection.
I see. Okay, let's try the next caller. Caller, you're on the show.
Just keep going.
My cock is throbbing. It is.
I feel like I'm doing like somebody's porno line.
I had no idea.
All right, let's try
Permaculture was so
on the
arousing.
show.
My cock is throbbing.
Okay. All right, never mind. Let's try the next person.
Let's
This is
keep
fun.
going.
Hi, you're on the show.
Hey, I was wondering if
It
you
must
guys
be a
want to
boys'
touch my
club.
dick.
It's a boys' club. They're all calling in.
Dude, and the funny thing about that video, like if you see the actual visuals to it, like this woman keeps over talking the little skinny lady because she's completely whacked out of her mind.
Now, is that the host? Wait, so is the skinny lady the host or is the fat lady the host?
The fat lady's the host, the one talking all the time. But
Okay.
then the little lady that's in the background is sitting beside her, and
Yeah.
she's like a twig, dude. There's like
Yeah.
no meat on her. And like the big lady keeps over talking her because the other woman just sounds so stupid when she says something.
Oh my god, man.
Like,
That's
she
the thing with
never
like
lets her talk.
every fucking public access show had this every day.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's funny because like, and I didn't even think of the fact that like I say dildo lady and you immediately know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
dude, I'm huge. But this is the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure like every episode from here on out, I'm gonna have to include some of these because these are just great.
Yeah.
And there's so many.
So here's the thing with public access calls, everybody. So public access is basically these people pay to be on the programming. It's not like they're getting paid to be on the programming. They'll buy like one of those slots at like 5 a.m. when nothing's running except like commercials, and they'll do their show. And what happened is people would get on these lines and just say outrageous shit because there isn't like a dump button, like they're live. And so like there was one of this dude was like, let's talk gun control in the United States. This is in the 90s. And everybody gets on and they're like, hey, how about you suck my dick? Like, you know, like the funniest ones are the people who like start off like sounding like they're going to be legitimate. And then at the end of it, they just hit them with something. Those are the funniest ones.
Oh, yeah.
Dildo lady was this fucking 90-year-old bitch who used to talk about sucking cock. Like, and she had her own show. This was her public access show. She was out of Canada, I believe. And she used to talk about the right way to suck a cock and like the right way to like jerk a cock. And like women would call in like, my husband wants to put it in my ass, but I'm not comfortable. And this old lady goes, well, you tell him to put it in his ass first. And I'm like, what the fuck? This old bitch. Like, dude, it's the funniest fucking thing because this bitch is like 90 on screen with a fucking dildo just jerking it off.
That's hilarious, dude. Lee, we've got to do some more of these. We've got to get on some phone calls and do some of this. This is great. Oh god, and I have so many, dude. I have some old ones that I did in the past that I'll have to dig up out of whatever, the archives.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that's all I got for you, Dylan. I'm sorry.
And it's all right.
We've been going an hour and a half though. We were expecting to only do an hour.
Yeah, man. That's what happens when you get me on the tangent about the UFC and doing Macho Man impressions and talking about the legends of the Hidden Temple.
But, I don't know when we're going to go again, live again next. Honestly, right now, we don't really have a set schedule. We're just going to kind of do it.
Real quick, though, I do want to ask the chat, Landon. Sorry to cut you off, but I just want to ask the chat. Did everybody enjoy themselves? Did everyone have a good time? I know we don't have a live crowd, and so I can't hear your cheers of applause, But I hope in the chat everybody had a good time. We appreciate all your chats. We appreciate, obviously, to Lee who called in.
Right.
Landon, but you didn't answer the question. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
What would I do? There's many things I would do for a Klondike bar.
Ooh. I got some popsicles in the basement.
My slim paper boy.
Come on now. Don't you tease an old man.
All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got. Dylan, you got anything else? We're going to get out of here.
Just thank you guys for joining our first show, and I hope I didn't bore you to death.
How awesome. I appreciate you for coming on, Dylan. We're going to do this, God knows when. Who knows? Maybe before the end of the weekend. We'll see. We're going to get going because I want to watch the fights too. So, to everybody watching, to those who wanted to call in but didn't, you have no balls, so maybe you can do it next time. I love you guys. Have a good night, and we will see you next time.